Yo guys, welcome back to another video, and sorry I haven't uploaded in so long, but it's just because Wonderland is closed for the winter, and yeah. So, I'm counting my top 10 worst roller coasters I've ever ridden. Even though I've only been to 2 amusement parks, there are some bad ones actually that I've been on. They're terrible. Well, not really the worst in the world, but here. So yeah, let's just get started. Number 10. This is the Mighty Canadian Mindbuster at Canada's Wonderland. Now this ride, I'm sorry, it's just like rough and jerky. But the only good thing about this ride is the airtime. But the airtime hills are pretty painful, honestly, but airtime is really good. I mean, I love airtime, but not on this ride. Definitely not. But the only thing I like about this is that you get a nice view of the water park when you're up on this helix thingy. It's so good. I mean, it's a pretty good view. You get to see the behemoth and everything like that. But yeah, I'm sorry. This is not a good roller coaster. The tunnel is loud and everything like that. So yeah, that's gonna make it onto the list. Number 9 is Le Monster at La Ronde. And this thing is pretty rough. Not gonna lie, it is not the best. When I first rode this, I rode this in the back row, so that made it even worse because the stupid employees made me sit in the back row. And this thing is really rough. And back in 2017, this thing closed like all year. I'm not even kidding. And this has like nothing good about it. There's no logo on the front of the train. That'd be pretty cool. But I'm sorry, this roller coaster is really rough and jerky. And if they actually RMC'd this ride, I would come back to La Ronde. But I went to La Ronde once, and it was really bad. Anyway, yeah, I'm not a fan of this. Okay, now this next ride is not like bad. Like, this ride is just stupid. Like, this is La Ronde's Super Menage, and this thing is very headbanging, and more than other, it's rough, and it's so slow. This is a Vekoma coaster. People think it's an aero looper. It's a Vekoma, and this is probably the second worst Vekoma I've ridden. This thing is so short, like, the airtime is really painful, and I mean it. Like, this ride is so short, really bland, and there's like nothing to it. There's no theming at all. There's no like things above the station. And there's also no sign, and that makes it even worse. See, look, that's such a short ride. Anyway, yeah, this one's terrible. Number 7, we have Vortex at Canada's Wonderland. Now, this thing isn't too bad. Like, I like the drop, but there's just, like, one thing that I really hate about it. So, basically, it's kind of jerky. It's a little rough, but the whole ride, when I rode this, it was, like, headbanging the whole time. I have no idea why. I literally had a headache after this ride. A little one, not an overload one. But this ride, I'm sorry, is not good. Like, it's a really shaky. Not really, like, shaky and, like, jerky, but it's, like, really sharp turns as well. Yeah, this roller coaster is not good. And for number 7, this is pretty bad. Okay, so number 6 is Wild Beast at Canada's Wonderland. Now, this ride, oh my goodness, this is constant rickety. This is probably the roughest wooden coaster I've ever ridden. This is probably worse than Le Monster in the back row. I've ridden this twice in the back row. It is terrible. I used to actually like this coaster when I was younger. That was when I was younger. Like, this ride is actually terrible now. It hurts. The airtime is painful. It's really rough and jerky as well. And I heard that this thing might be getting an RMC in 2021 or 2022. I have no idea. People saying either Mindbuster or this. I hope this does, because this is worse than Mindbuster. And it has a lot of bad airtime hills, and I've already said that. Yeah, we're just going to go on to the next one. Okay, next up on the list, we have Cobra at La Ronde. This thing is probably the worst and only stand-up coaster I have ridden. This thing is so bad. Like, my feet weren't touching the ground when I first rode this. Like, my feet were touching the ground, but they weren't, like, flat. They were kind of heels up. The employees did not care. But I tried riding Skyrider at Wonderland before it closed, and they cared. But at La Ronde, it was a little less than before. But this thing is just constant trash. They closed this thing. And yeah, this thing is really bad. And I don't plan on ever riding it again. And I will never ride it because it's closed. Anyway, this is so rough and jerky. I hate it. Anyway, let's just go on to the next one and forget about it. Next up on the list is Dragonfire. This is taking number 4. This thing, I literally don't even care if this thing got torn down. I will never ride this piece of crap again. It is really short, really headbanging, and also really jerky and a really, really rough corkscrew. This does not deserve to be in the park. I'm sorry. This thing sucks, and I feel bad for taller people because sometimes you get banged in the ears and sometimes you get banged in the head, and it's really annoying. And yeah, I don't care if this thing got torn down. Anyway, on to the next one. Okay, so this next video is the number 3 is the Bat. Now, this thing is so bad. This thing headbangs constantly. It is so bad. Going backwards is super, super bad as well. And this it feels like you're flying off the track. It is such a stupid ride. And I do not care if it gets torn down. I'm sorry. But this thing headbang constantly the whole ride. I will never ride this piece of thing again. And I hope it gets torn down. And I won't really care if it does or if it just stays. Because I'm not even going to ride it anymore. Anyway, on to the next one. And we're going to forget about this one forever. Okay, so number 2. This is like the worst roller coaster at Wonderland. I will never ride this thing ever again. This is Time Warp. So basically, I was having a constant day at Wonderland, decided to ride this, and I got a bad headache, and we had to leave, because I could not ride any more roller coasters because of this thing. It gave me constant headbanging, and the aversions are so bad. And you literally, like, I don't even know who made this coaster, but if someone did, you're trash. Honestly, it deserves to be scrapped. Anyway, you basically get in these metal cages. You feel like you're in prison, which is garbage. Anyway, on to the next one. Now, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. The last one. Ednor at La Ronde. Holy moly. This is the worst roller coaster in the world. If you go to La Ronde, do not ride this thing. Even in the front, it's so bad. You bang, like on normal Vekoma SLCs, you do not bang your elbows and your shoulders. You only bang your head and sometimes your shoulders, but not your elbows. This is the worst ride in the park, and it deserves to be garbage. If you ever come to La Ronde, do not ride this. It's constant headbanging the whole ride. This thing is way, way worse than Flight Deck. I would take this any day. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, guys, that was my top 10 worst roller coasters of all time. And honestly, if you want to ride these for the credit, just don't ride Ednor. It is literally garbage. And no one ever liked it. It has a no line when you go to La Ronde. Just don't go to La Ronde, okay? If your mom asks which amusement park would you rather, she says La Ronde or some other park, pick the other park. La Ronde needs to get something really damn good for me to come back there, like a Giga Coaster or a Dive Coaster or maybe RMC Monster. I don't even know. But anyway, I'm going to end this video here. If you guys liked it, please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Probably won't be until May 11th, because that's opening day of Canada's Wonderland. Anyway, see you next time. Bye, guys.